This potential crisis has many people just stressed out about their personal finances. This morning, we're joined by Jose Gabilondo, an associate professor at FIU's College of Law. He's here to explain how all of us could be affected. Good morning, Jose.
Good morning.
What happens if there's no agreement by August 2nd? I mean, it seems like we're going to get one, but everybody's still nervous.
Well, probably nothing, because first of all, the government has more revenues than it had counted on, so there'll be a margin of several days of cash flow. And also because the Treasury has discretion about when they formally declare that we've exhausted our financial resources, so it'll be like Y2K in the sense that probably nothing will happen, especially now that this plan, which is essentially the McConnell plan that he came up with 2 weeks ago, looks like it's going to be implemented.
Well, Jose, how are individuals going to be affected? You and me?
Luckily, not very much, except for the anxiety that we will have been put through in the last couple of weeks. There's a small chance that interest rates will rise. Some of them have already risen. So, for example, if you look at the LIBOR, the London Interbank Offer Rate, which is the rate that a lot of our variable rate loans are priced off of, that had been going down for the last year, and it changed direction a couple of weeks ago, and it's climbing very slowly. But probably we really won't feel any impact.
Wow, I think one of our Facebook fans said, can I sue Congress for the stress they're causing? Because they get Social Security. You know, will solving the debt crisis improve our economy? I mean, we weren't doing that great before all this started. Where is this going to leave us?
That's a very good question, because in a way, the debt limit has been a terrible distraction from what are really the very hard economic problems facing us. This week it was announced that we had very anemic growth in the last quarter, only about 1.3%. That's less than was expected. And what's troubling is that this debt accord will mean that the government has to spend less money. The government's been one of the big spenders in the economy. It's produced what limited recovery we have. So if the government stops spending, it means there's more risk for, the dreaded, double recession. So that's not good, and you have to remember that we have a so-called recovery without employment. We have corporations have had bumper profits, but part of how they've made so much money is by laying people off and making their current employees work harder. So recovery for corporations doesn't really mean recovery for the unemployed. And also keep in mind that credit is still lousy, the real estate market is still lousy. And there's a lot of uncertainty, so it's not like, we're going back to good times.
Well, Jose, why does the government have to borrow so much money?
That's a very good question. I think people don't understand just how expensive it is to run a government. We take for granted the things that are public, highways, food and drug laws, things that make our lives comfortable and safe. But that all takes money. And you have to realize the government has three ways of financing itself. It can sell goods or services. Like when you go to the Cape Cod National Seashore, the government collects a fee. That's one way, but that's not a very important way. Also, the second way is the government can raise taxes, which is not a popular option right now. Or the third way is the government borrows money. So borrowing money is what governments always do. They have a lot of debt that's maturing all the time that has to be refinanced, and it's very normal to refinance. The other thing is I wish people would realize that it's a mistake to compare a government economy with a family economy. That's really a grotesque kind of misinformation. Governments are different. They don't declare bankruptcy. They control their own currency. And they deal with all kinds of public obligations that are, frankly, expensive.
Yeah, and a lot of people have been terrified by all this. It's been very scary. Well, thank you so much for breaking it all down for us, Jose. We appreciate you coming in.
My pleasure.